Morning all, well today we're going to fit the foam in the bottom of the boat, make up all the ribs and stringers. You see they've all been scribed in nicely. The old chap's done them, he's done a cracking job of them. All I've got to do is cut out a semicircle in the bottom to let the water run through the bottom of the hull, because that's going to be a well in the middle. But apart from that, he's done a pucker job of cutting them in. They look lovely. Seems a shame to cut a section out of the middle to let the water through, doesn't it? But they do look good. So clean up all the bottom of the boat, put some acetone on it, cut the semicircle out the bottom. I'll glass that semicircle first before I put it in the boat, and then I'll put a bevel along the edge there, a chop strand mat and choppies and resin, because glass doesn't fold around them tight bends very well. So if I put like a little bevel around the edges, like what I've done along the edge of the deck there, tie that back in. If I do that, I'll fold around them corners lovely. Because we're putting a well in the centre of the boat, obviously we had to cut the bottoms out for the water to drain forward and aft. And also, when you're glassing them, you need a chamfer. So you see I put a chamfer on both edges and on the top. That's ever so easy enough to do. To put the hole in the bottom, I just got an old hole saw and just pushed it through from both sides and then popped it out. So you end up with a bit of foam like this. Then you can use that for sanding. Just use it on a shelf to sand out. Just easy enough to do. But to do the edges is slightly different. What I do on the top edges, I get a hacksaw. I just run it along. Doesn't take that much off. You see, I just took a little bit off the edge. Then I get a bit of a self and just rub it. Just on the pointy bits and go over the whole thing. But you get a lovely radius on it. It's on the few materials you can rub with yourself, to get a nice radius and sand it down. Easy peasy. Well, that's the first bit of foam all cut and shaped. Obviously that's the bulkhead for the front lock, and as you can see that's plywood. The last person didn't glass on it at all, they just painted over most of it with just top coat, as you can see there. Well, this bit, all I've done is rounded off the front edge so I can lay glass over it, and that's sitting there lovely, that do. That's number one. So all I've got to do now is I'll coat the foam with a bit of resin so the glass will stick to it, and I'll mix up some more, get some more chop strand mat and choppies and mix with a bit of resin. I'll put a bevel all in the edge. So obviously that's what I've done here, so the glass will come on here, roll round, roll over that front edge, then roll over there. You don't want those sharp corners where laying mat over. They just end up a disaster. I'll put some choppies along there as well, just to keel that in. Square edges ain't good in boats, you want rounded edges. Well, that's standard before you start doing any glass work. You can see I'll wipe it all down, acetone to clean it and key it up. I'll let that all evaporate, because obviously I've done a little bit on that wood just to clean it, but I want that to evaporate out of the wood, so I'll put a bit of resin on that so the chopped strands stick to it. Well, I've coated all the wood and glass with resin. I'll put the bit of foam in, and I've coated that foam all in resin too. And the cutouts in the first two ribs I coated with resin, because I want to glass them out before I put them in, because trying to glass them out when they're in position will be a nightmare. You want to put a coat of resin on foam first, so when it go off the fiberglass stick to it better. If not, that can keep lifting, but give it a coat of resin first, let it dry, and it stick to it like the proverbial to a blanket, if you know what I mean. Well, the resin I painted on is all now dry, so for ready up for glass, I don't want to bend the glass around them tight 90 degrees, top and bottom, so I mixed up some more choppies and resin and put that in with a spatula, so I've got a beveled edge all the way around, you can see. So that means the fiberglass ain't got to have a 90 degree and break the fibres and bend them, because they don't like doing 90 degrees and they'll lift. And I don't want it to lift, I don't want no air bubbles, so I'll put that bevel, the choppies and resin all the way around, so I can lay completely on that. And also I put a little bit on the edge there and just fill that infill there with it. So it's now 45, it's now a nice round edge, so I can lay over it no problem. Result. While that's still drying, I thought I'd go back to doing these cutouts. I'll put a couple of layers in them, because it's a lot easier to lay them one upside down than was it in position. All I've done is got a couple of bits of mat. I could have tore it, but I just got some scissors and just cut it and convoluted it. So obviously when it go in there, that'll all spread and go apart. And then I've got a slightly bigger bit what I cut, so I'll just put 2 layers in there to start with. Same with that one. So I'll get them 2 done, ready for sticking to the floor. Well, I'll put them 2 layers of glass in there. They've gone in there lovely. You can see where the little cuts where they're opened up, so they're gone round the rounded edge lovely. And then I just painted some resin around the side, so in a little while I'll be able to stick that in the boot and put some more of that chop strand mat or choppies and resin like that front one, to 1 stick it in, and 2 give it a rounded edge so glass will pass over it. I've also done the other one as well, exactly the same, just propping them up. See that that's done exactly the same. Only put 2 layers in there, that's enough, just so I know it's totally covered. Make life easier when I glass the whole thing in. Well, I just laid up that front bit of foam with 3 layers of 450 gram mat. That didn't go too badly. That's now kicking off and hardening. I've got another 2 layers to go on that. Basically the first one was 1 inch oversized, the second one was 2 inches oversized, and the third one was 3 inches oversized. Well, I've got another 2 bits already cut down there, and each one is 1 inch bigger than the last one, so I get a good footprint. I don't like to put 5 layers on at the same time, because when that's set off that get bloody hot. I don't think that'd do the glass any good. Maybe I'm just worrying for no reason, but I've never liked laying more than 3 layers at a time. So I'll give that 20 minutes and then I'll put another 2 layers on top. Well, that's all laid up now. It's got 5 layers. You see there's a little touch with a few little tiny diddy air bubbles there what I can't get out. I think that's because I've done it in 2 separate layers, and the first lot is hardened and the second lot ain't quite found the same shape. I went over it several times with a roll and a brush, but I just couldn't get rid of them. But that's life. That's 5 layers. I have got to trim like a few little fluffy bits there and fluffy bits there. I've got to trim off in the morning. That's where it go over the old lip, the old deck. But I'm quite happy with that. I've now stuck the second ribbing. I coated all the lower edge with resin so it stick. Also I gave it the 2 layers of mat in the drainage hole. Then I just did up some more resins and choppy, and I'll just spread it all the way along to get that chamfer. So it's all the way along and in the middle of the hole, because that glass definitely lay better on a nice rounded edge, and that do go 90 degrees. Obviously they're glass fibres, I know they're fine, but they don't like bending 90 degrees. So we'll leave that tonight. See the other back edge as well. We'll leave that tonight, and tomorrow morning it'll all harden, because things, it's only 14 degrees here today, so it isn't that warm, so things haven't been hardened too quickly. It's been a bit slow going really, but hopefully that'll be a degree or 2 warmer tomorrow and things will lay up a lot quicker. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.